and welcome to Mondays with Maria Gould. Today is May 26th, 2025, and this is episode 21. I want to wish anyone in America happy Memorial Day. Here is to finding peace and honoring the peace within us. Today the topic is chanting and the power of your voice. Now, back in 2000, I was just in my 20s, I believe it was, and I took chakra yoga training, and it was amazing. It was 2 months of doing different asanas or exercises and chants and different meditations and awarenesses to actually open each of our 7 major chakras. Now, if you haven't heard about chakras, you might want to check out my previous episode 20, and learn a little bit more about chakras. But today we're going to show you how chanting, how using sound and vibration is so healing for the body. I'm going to share some stories, and then I have a gift for you attached in the show notes of this podcast so that you can experience seed mantras for yourself. But I'll explain what those are. So in my yoga training, one of the most powerful things, there were a lot of powerful things. It was an amazing experience. But the voice work that we did, one of the yoga instructors was actually a voice coach. So she really did a lot of training with us to open up our voice, open up our throat chakra, and find our true voice. So it was extremely powerful. I was a very young, insecure. I had a lot of self-worth issues when I was, early teens and even preteens, and of course moving into adulthood. So when my voice went from cracking and straining and barely squeaking out of my lips to booming across the room with power and conviction, it was so uplifting. It was absolutely empowering. When my voice and my throat chakra started to open, I had tremendous amounts of energy in my body. Tremendous confidence came from that as well. I found my voice. I found my voice to be able to stand up for myself, to start speaking towards myself in a different way. It was profoundly, profoundly healing. So as I continued in my yoga training, chanting was a big part. Now, what is chanting? Well, in yoga, the study of, literally yoga means the science of union. Yog is literally translated to mean union. So I studied with a wonderful man named David Gould, and he actually studied in India and studied the science of yoga and the science of mind. Very amazing man. He was in his 60s and could literally put both legs behind his back and humbled all of us, early 20-year-olds shamed us, beyond words. So as my voice began to open and my confidence grew, I started to realize how powerful and healing our voice was. Our chakras, because it was chakra yoga training, this was a main focus of a lot of our chanting. Chanting just means we take repetitive Sanskrit words and repeat them over and over. Now, let me explain what Sanskrit is. Sanskrit is one of the oldest written and verbal languages on the planet. Some scholars believe it's over 5,000 years old. It was before Latin, it was before many of our more current languages, that's for sure. And according to my teacher, he spoke about his research pointed to Sanskrit was the last language that actually vibrated in harmony with our energetic body. So that ancient language of Sanskrit would open our chakras and put the vibration of the universe through our energetic body for healing, for enlightenment, for, so many wonderful things. And this just resonated as truth for me. It was profound to actually understand, almost as if science and spirituality were starting to catch up to each other at that time. And I could see that, science was starting to realize that everything was frequency, everything was vibration. It was a few years after 2000 that they started to hypothesize string theory. String theory is literally the theory that they kind of believe will tie all of science together. And it's the concept or understanding that everything at just the most microscopic and beyond, like smaller than what any microscope could measure, is all tiny little strings of vibration, almost like when you strum a guitar, the strings vibrate. And those different notes and frequencies will make up different types of matter, right? So the lower frequencies that would be related to bass tones would be considered what would build the material world. And then as the vibrations go up, it actually makes more subtle and less tangible types of energies. Now, we in Theta Healing talk about this as literally the planes of existence. So I can speak about that in another time. The planes of existence are quite amazing. But back to the chakras and Sanskrit and how the sounds of Sanskrit and the chanting that we did to open our throat chakra actually healed. Now, a profound experience that I had was I had a boyfriend at that time visiting over from Vancouver, and he had to drive. Anyways, we were driving around, and I could feel myself getting a sore throat, and I could feel the start of an awful cold coming on. And we were driving around, and he stopped to get gas. And as he was in the store paying and fueling up and all of that sort of thing, I just started to tone. And I would just have a variation in my voice until I found the tone and the frequency that I could feel the bacteria, the virus, literally start to pop in my nose, in my throat. And it was like that tone and that frequency completely abolished my cold. Within 5 minutes, all of my symptoms of a stuffy nose and a sore throat were absolutely gone. And it was amazing. It was a miracle, right? And I shared this with my boyfriend, and he wasn't quite sure what to think about that. But for me, I was sold. I knew our voice could heal us. I knew that we were made to heal ourselves, right? Into my teacher of Theta Healing, Vienna Steibel, she knew the voice could heal as well. She had congenitive heart failure, and when she had students in her home and was teaching a class, there was a violinist and a pianist that came, and they wanted to play Vienna a song. And they asked Vienna to sink into her heart and just sing along with the music they were playing to allow her heart to be expressed. And so she did that. She went up into the theta brainwave. She asked Creator to sink her into her emotional heart. And she could feel just the hurt that she had carried her whole life for how humanity has treated each other, how we've treated the planet, how we've treated the animals, just all of this grief and this sorrow in her heart space. Now, with her diagnosis of congenital heart failure, she really had a weak heart, right? Her heart had become so weak that her circulation was lacking to her lungs. So even doing this exercise of starting to move her voice and express the feelings in her heart through her voice, this is what we would call heart song today. Heart song and theta healing you learn in the advanced class, which is your second class. But this heart song of her just voicing and giving voice to that hurt and that pain and feeling that hurt and the pain be expressed and released out of her body, out of her cells, out of her atoms with that heart song, she literally healed her congestive heart failure. This is her experience that she has given me permission to share. Heart song has become a foundation in theta healing because it can really help our body become healthier to get all of that old emotion that we store in our body out. So I hope with these couple of stories about the power of sound healing or using your voice to heal will inspire you. Now, let me go back a second and talk about chakras. So each chakra, if you've ever looked online or in a shop, there's a lot of different metaphysical shops that will have pictures of chakras. And they kind of look like cool flowers. And the root chakra has 4 petals and it's red. The next chakra has 6, and therefore higher and higher, the more petals it has, until you reach the 7th chakra, which has 1,000 petals. Now, what chakras are, if you were to think of light from the universe shining through a prism that you hang in the window, and it creates a rainbow on the wall behind you. Our chakras are literally taking the light of the universe and vibrating out to create our reality. Now, the petals on your chakras, each petal has a tone and a vibration. But there is a base or a seed sound that helps to stimulate all of the petals on the chakras. Okay, so seed sounds are literally going back to that ancient language of Sanskrit and harmonizing us with the universe, harmonizing us with our energetic field, our life force that flows through us. And when we use tones to do this, we actually heal on multiple levels. Not just physically, as these stories I just shared, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So the seed sounds, now you don't have to memorize this because in the show notes of this podcast, I've attached a YouTube video that will guide you through the 7 seed mantras for the chakras. And they will it's 21 minutes. And what I suggest that you do is you put in earbuds and hopefully not AirPods without wires. Those are not very good for you. They actually have extremely high radiation levels. They're higher radiation levels than your phone. And you're basically frying your brain. So please don't use those. Use the wired ones. or just listen with your phone away from your head. But these seed mantras go from the root chakra and they will chant it for 3 minutes. And you can just chime in, right? So if you have ear plugs in and you start to find your chant, you'll mimic their chanting. And this is called kirtan. Kirtan is, again, a Sanskrit word of just call and repeat. So the instructor would call out a mantra. A mantra is just a string together words that are Sanskrit, and you repeat it. So the base chakra is Lam, Lam, Lam. And then you move up for 3 minutes into the second chakra, which is just below the navel. This color is orange, and this is Vam with a V, Vam. And then you move up to the solar plexus. This is Ram, Ram. And then the heart is Yam. And the throat is Hum. And then 6 chakras, usually Om. And each of the seed sounds goes up into an octave or a frequency of hertz. So again, the video will help guide you. Now the crown chakra is Om as well, or silence. So what we would normally do after we do the chanting, when I was taking chakra yoga training, we would do the chanting for 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes 7 minutes for each chakra. And then at the end, we would do 7 minutes of all of the sounds. Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. Deep breath in, the silence of the breath in is for the 7th chakra. So that's just something we would do, and we would start to feel the energy move up through the chakras, again, activating the chakras and starting to awaken the energetic body. They would also call this awakening the Kundalini, okay, which is a topic for another day if you've never heard of that, okay. So again, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for listening. If you would like to reach out to me for any theta healing sessions or check out my website for the upcoming beginners class, which is called the Basic DNA Theta Healing class, is coming up in September 2025. You can check out my website at mariagould.com. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. And please check out the show notes. Check out and experience the seed mantras for your chakras and try it for 21 days. It's 21 minutes. And just set up a time to give that gift to yourself and see how you feel. What I like to do is I would write in a journal kind of my physical state, my mental, my emotional state, how I'm feeling connected to other people, to animals, to nature, to God, right? And then after the 21 days, you go back and you reassess and you notice what feels different. And this is what we would call the science of the mind in yoga. You use yourself as the experiment. You experiment on yourself to see the effects of the practices. So I encourage you to do that. And once you notice the changes for yourself, you will never, ever go back. All right, so blessings for today and enjoy the meditation.